My first ever DJ gig, I used to be in a duo with one of my really close friends from school. We were called Concept. And our first show ever was at Roxanne's Parlour. He's like waiting for me to speak. I remember being incredibly nervous because for a long time I was DJing on a borrowed setup from one of my friends. The setup that we were practicing on was 3 different bits of gear that one of them would have been in a club, but the rest weren't. So when we got to a club for the first time behind the decks, it felt very professional. And I think also at that point, CDs were how you logged everything. And I remember I scratched 4 of my CDs beforehand because I was nervous. The first DJ Kicks I ever listened to was Moody Man's. I got onto DJ Kicks quite late in my life and then went backwards. To this day, Moody Man's DJ Kicks is a huge inspiration. He really took the aspect of at-home listening to club perfectly. That's so sick. I worked with this guy, his name's Alex, and we worked in this coffee shop called Shoreditch Grind, and we were very into music. Both he and I were very into music, and we obviously didn't I was obviously DJing, not as DJ Boring, but I was had DJ'd, and we came up with this thing it was called a DJ set at work, where we'd go into the little kitchenette part and on the iPad go to Spotify and add songs, so cue songs, and it was our DJ set, while we're both on the coffee machine. And then it got to a point where we got in trouble for not really respecting the guidelines of music. There was no real guidelines. We were playing Sandstorm at 7 a.m, so that makes perfect sense why they got rid of that. But we always put on DJ Kicks because it was a continuous mix and it was on Spotify. So one thing that really stand out for us, actually there's 3 songs. There's Le Sin's Grind. It's one of the perfect tracks I've ever heard in my life. I always get the name wrong, but it's J. Paul. That was the first time I ever heard of J. Paul, and the rest is history. It's one of my favorite artists. And then obviously Kings of Tomorrow, Fall for You. Beautiful. You really are Nardwuar of Germany. Also, the cover's insanely perfect. You guys get here to work?
Looking at it all day.
Why? When I left Melbourne to go to London, I had obviously tried so hard and for so long to be a DJ in Melbourne, to be a producer. I sent my tracks to labels all over the world, and played sets at clubs before the doors even opened, and the last set where no one would even come and would have to not cancel the night, but finish the night then because not enough ticket sales. So I felt there was a big pressure of never playing. I didn't move for music. I didn't move. I moved so I could be closer to music and go see it, but it was more hobby back then. If I could go back, I would do it the exact same way, because if I went there to try and do something in music, I don't reckon it would be the same. I would definitely not be where I am right now. So I always buy heaps of music beforehand, just stuff that I love, but I know people that create these playlists, and these playlists are very much curated to each and different sounds. for me, I'm so like willy-nilly, just chuck everything that I've just bought into like a new folder, and I'm like, I love this folder full of stuff. I feel like that's very much my approach with making music as well. When I started compiling everything for the DJ kicks, I had the idea of making an hour and 17 minutes of just full-on dance. When I was doing that, it became apparent to me again that the reason why I really liked all the other DJ kicks is that it starts from somewhere and ends somewhere completely different. Like at home listening to club, it can be used in any situation. And I tend to think how I came about is how I would go in, like how it would be for me in a day. I'd make dinner, then I'd go have some drinks, then I'd go out to a club, and then I'd go home. And that's how like the thought was like, it was like a day in a life of like what I would do, like what I would listen to, going from the start to finish. I loved doing it. The whole process. I wish I could do it again. No, I don't. Actually, I don't, because I'm happy with the one that I have, you know? I had I think a quite beautiful relationship with the mix, because every track on there I absolutely adore, whether it's, you know, Anthony Naples, Patrick Holland are both artists that I like love and super respect, and to be able to put them in is really special. Like Shanti Celeste, having like an original track from Bamboo. I like been following Bamboo for years, and just to have that, you know, connection where like I revert back to like my early dance days, and he was a big part of them. And to now being able to like, you know, call him a friend and have an exclusive track just made me feel special. Made this whole experience special. Out of all mixes that I've ever done, it's probably one of the most like special mixes, you know. I think it is me to a T. I relate to it as my like how my DJ sets would normally go, and also take it into a way that it's more of telling a story. I feel like actually a lot of my sets are telling stories, but it's hard to tell a story in an hour and 17 minutes. So in this mix, it had to go from different levels of up, down, down, and then end very up. So yeah. It's hard for me to tell someone to, or like where I'd imagine someone listening to it. So I feel I'd love to know more so where people have listened to it, whether it's, you know, at a friend's house on Spotify, or if they've bought the record, listening to the tracks at home on their turntable, or if they're on a road trip, you know. So now in 17 minutes, where are you going? Why are you, like, what are we doing? Where are we going? Can I come?